I got a theory. The reason why you're not reaching your goals is perhaps because you're not taking the time to appreciate the milestones leading up to said goal. Let's say, for an example, hypothetically, you want to save $10,000 by the end of the summer. Well, once you reach $2,500, you're a quarter of the way there, and you should stop. Take a second and pat yourself on the back. Maybe you deserve a treat. Maybe you deserve a reward. Maybe you deserve a pulled pork sandwich. That's right. Today we are making the most delicious pulled pork sandwich I've ever had. And this is because I'm a quarter of the way to my goal. If you have a goal that you want to reach by the end of this summer, the end of this year, or the end of the decade, let me know in the comments below. But without further ado, let's begin the pulled pork sandwich recipe. We begin with 5 pounds of pork butt, also known as pork shoulder. Now, if you like, you give it a nice slap. Feels nice. What you're going to want to do is remove some of this fat here. You see, fat is good, fat is flavor. However, a lot of it is unnecessary. It's a little tough. What I'm going to do is take a knife and cut the majority of this off. Once all of the excess fat has been removed, we can move on to seasoning. Now, seasoning is a lot like toothpaste. You might like to use charcoal to scrub your pearly whites, while others will buy any chemical on the shelf as long as it promises to turn your chompers one shade closer to a subway tile. The point being, it all comes down to individual preference. In both cases, what's most important is that you liberally season your pork and routinely brush your teeth. That being said, if you're interested, the recipe for the seasoning I'm using here will be in the description below. Alright, so now that our pork is seasoned to perfection, very liberally as mentioned, we're going to put it on a sheet tray like such and pop it in the oven at 250 degrees for approximately 6 hours, but it does depend on both your oven, the size of your meat, and a lot of other variables, so just check it every 4 hours or so. It has been 4 hours since we last put our pork shoulder in the oven, so we're going to pull it out, take a look, and see what the internal temperature is. As you can see here, the internal temperature is approximately 175 degrees after 4 hours of cooking, so I'm going to crank the oven up to about 300 degrees for the last hour. Now, I want to reach an internal temperature of just under 200 when I pull it out, and then we're going to let it rest, and then we're good to go. Personally, I don't have time to julienne a carrot, and for $3 you could buy coleslaw in a bag. Do whatever works for you is the point of this story. Don't feel like you have to spend hours and hours cooking when you just don't have the time to do it. Do what makes sense for you. If it's easier for you to buy coleslaw in a bag, buy coleslaw in a bag. No one is judging you. It's about cooking, and it's about enjoying the experience of cooking. Not about trying to be a professional home chef. But that's just me. Feel free to correct me in the comments. So to make our coleslaw, it's very simple. We need 1 cup of mayo. And when it comes to mayo, just use the mayo that you like to use. You can make your own, yes, if you have the time, go for it. It will be worth it, honestly. It's great when you make your own mayo. It's also great when you use your fingers here and just make a huge mess. It's all part of the experience. So about 1 cup of mayo, a little less, 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 1 tablespoon of celery seeds, very important, this is pretty much a key ingredient here. Then we have, hands are disgusting. Then we have 2 teaspoons of sugar going in, and then just salt and pepper to taste. All right, 1 second while I get this off my fingers. Now let's add our coleslaw. Very nice. And we'll give this a nice toss. That is a simple, delicious coleslaw that is going to make the perfect pulled pork sandwich. It's been 6 hours total. I just pulled the pork shoulder out of the oven and it is looking fantastic. Look, it's got a beautiful bark on it. I'm gonna check the temperature. You can see here we're just about 189, 190. So I'm gonna stop it there because at 190, when I pull it out and I put it in my Dutch oven, it's gonna continue to climb. The temperature internally is gonna continue to climb. The only thing I'm going to do before I forget is add a little bit of the fat that's in this pan, because that is only gonna help things out. So not all of it, but a little bit. Keep it moist, throw the cover on. We'll check back in about an hour or so, and then we'll rip it apart like a savage beast, of course, using our hands. All right, with our pork resting on the side, it is now time to make the key component to this entire delicious pulled pork sandwich, which of course is the Chipotle BBQ sauce. Now, I cannot stress this enough. This is the one thing that you cannot skip in this recipe. We begin with this onion. The sauce will take about 20 to 30 minutes to reduce to the finished product, so keep this in mind when preparing the other ingredients. To start, dice 1 whole Vidalia onion as seen here. Once diced, add the onion to a tablespoon of oil heating over medium-high heat in the saucepan of your choice. Cook until translucent, about 5 minutes, while stirring often. Next, add 1/3 cup of malt vinegar, half cup of apple cider vinegar, 2/3 of a cup of water, 2 cups of ketchup, 2.5 tablespoons of molasses, 3 to 6 ounces of blended chipotle peppers depending on your tolerance, 1/3 of a cup of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of honey, 1/3 of a cup of dark brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, and 1.5 tablespoons of onion powder. We are so close to mealtime. As you can see behind me, we have our Chipotle BBQ sauce bubbling away. We have our pork shoulder resting. We have our cats who are starving because it's almost time to eat. How hungry are you? Oh. Alright, I don't know about you, but this is the moment that I had been waiting for. It is time to shred the meat. And there's multiple ways to do this. You can do this with 2 forks, you can do this with a pair of bear claws, or my favorite method, using your hand. So we're gonna go in here, see if I can take the bone out. Oh my goodness, look at this. You've got to try this. There's really nothing better than pulled pork when it cooks for 6 hours. And you have this delicious bark on the outside. The meat is tender. It melts in your mouth. It's perfect. These dark pieces of bark with the fat in it, it's unbelievable. Mmm. Yes! Once your Chipotle BBQ sauce has reduced to the desired consistency, drain out the onions as shown here. Now, do not under any circumstance discard these delectable morsels because they're going to be used later as a base layer of our pulled pork sandwich. Now, toast your buns and let's assemble. We have our onions, which turned into kind of like an onion jam. Can't see how that's a bad thing. I'm gonna put the onion jam on first. I'm gonna follow it up with the pork, a little bit of barbecue sauce, coleslaw, crown the king, call it a day. You ready? You with me? Let's do it. First, don't be shy with the pork either. Really pile it on. Chipotle BBQ. Listen, this whole thing's supposed to be a mess. That's what makes it enjoyable. So, enjoy it. And here you have what could just be the best pulled pork you've ever had. Oh my God. I can't even talk. The Chipotle sauce provides just the right amount of heat. It's warm, it's comforting, it's delicious. Guys, if there's one thing you make this entire summer, this entire year, this entire decade, make it this pulled pork sandwich. You deserve it. You have reached your goals, or at least you're on the way to making these mini achievements in order to reach your goals. So stop for a second, pat yourself on the back, and say, you know what? I deserve this, because you do. As always, keep busy, stay healthy, be happy, and I will see you in the next one.